coming off of a bunch of steals in that game against Cincinnati as well. And speaking of steals, West Virginia does it about as well as anybody in the country. Second in the nation in points per game. We'll talk some keys to the game in a moment, but West Virginia really wants to make things hard for you defensively. The Cowgirls have been prolific scoring the ball, so it's a little bit of a contrasting style.
Well, like you said, we have the #2 defense in the Big 12 in West Virginia, only allowing 51 points per game. And we have the top offense in the Big 12 in Oklahoma State, averaging 84. Let's see which side of the basketball wins this afternoon.
We should say it's not as if Oklahoma State does not defend, but the steal numbers aren't quite as flashy. They're pretty good keeping points off the board as well. A couple of close-range misses for the Cowgirls to start this game, and West Virginia will have a chance to score first.
Yeah, Oklahoma State loves to run an offense out of the jump ball with that back screen for their post player, Tenan Magassa, and she's got to knock those down.
Outside to Shaw, and the three-pointer is good. An early lead for West Virginia.
Well, Shaw, you can't forget about, everyone talks about J.J. Quinterly and Jordan Harrison as the dynamic duo, but Sydney Shaw, don't sleep on her. Last game she scored 19 points against Texas Tech.
Long pass found Gray. Shaw averages 13 a game and shoots about 39% from three. Very, very capable three-point shooter. I'll see underneath. Magassa, the size advantage there, and lays it in.
Yeah, that was a great execution by Oklahoma State. They knew West Virginia was going to come out in that 2-3 matchup zone, and that's one way to beat it, is knock down the shot at the high post.
Quinterly picked up her dribble. That's off the mark. Slapped out towards us and saved by Harrison.
Well, I love the matchup between Micah Gray for Oklahoma State and Jordan Harrison. They were high school teammates, so I think they know each other's game really well.
High school teammates right down in Oklahoma City. Gray attacking into some contact, and the charge is called.
Great job by getting position by the defender. Got there before the offense left her feet. Really good charge take right here. Yeah, great pass. Yeah, you're right. That was incredible.
Making some things happen. Harrison with the floater this time. It's off the mark. Hurd with the rebound for Oklahoma State.
Well, that's one thing Oklahoma State wants to do, rebound and go. They like to play fast and like to shoot the three.
Magassa missed that first attempt, but has hit her last two.
Adam, what was funny is that she was wide open on the miss, but she had someone in her face on that time and knocked it down.
There's a mid-range from Quinterly, but doesn't make that one. Oklahoma State with a very dangerous mid-range shooter as well. On the bench right now is Jaden Wooten. We'll see her in not too long.
Yeah, that freshman has no fear. She does an extreme brings the energy off the bench, but great job of defending as well.
Coach Kellogg for West Virginia must be liking what he's seeing early as they get some pressure out on the ball again and force the jump ball. Just in his second season at West Virginia, but he's got plenty of successful experience.
Well, I know that success extremely well. Mark Kellogg and myself have been friends a long time and coached against each other when we were Division II basketball coaches in the state of Colorado. So I have a lot of respect for that man.
Blackston, that ball kind of just appeared at her fingertips there. It hit her pretty quick, and she's able to control it and lay it in. Showed some good hands on a surprising look.
Yeah, you're right. And I love West Virginia. Oklahoma State knows that they're going to come out and press a lot this afternoon, and they're 2-2-1. And I know Oklahoma State's going to try to get that basketball in the middle of the court.
For J.C. Hoyt, in her third season as the Oklahoma State head coach, didn't like how that call went going West Virginia's way, but she is still working her way back. Just had a baby in December, and coaching her team through a Big 12 season as an offensive foul will give the ball back to her Cowgirls.
Talk about strong women. She is a perfect example of that, and yeah, the baby is just absolutely adorable, and I'm happy for her and her husband Daniel. What a great addition to the Cowgirl family.
Harlow was on the road with the team in the win at Cincinnati on Wednesday, 64-48. The Cowgirls, 64 points. That's way below what they're used to scoring, but they really put the clamps down defensively in that game.
Yeah, they're averaging 84 points per game, #1 in the Big 12, and they have 4 guards on the outside that can knock down the ball.
Speaking of knocking down threes. Aussie, who's been struggling a little bit from the perimeter, gets one to go there.
Well, that's one thing about Aussie. You know, it's so funny. You know, it's not really funny. I mean, maybe we'll back up on that. When shooters miss a few shots, it kind of gets mental, you know, a little bit. And so I know they've been working with Anna Gred, and she's just a great shooter.
Blackston buries a response triple, which is big for West Virginia. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But for Aussie, you know, I mentioned she's been struggling a little bit. She's still shooting 37%, which is an incredible number.
Yeah, that's struggling, isn't it?
Yeah, if you can struggle and still shoot that high from three, you must be an awfully effective shooter. Gray, go ahead.
Yeah, you're saying she's knocked down 18 consecutive free throws. I'm saying it now so we won't jinx her later, Adam.
Good call. Gray gets bumped, 5 to shoot. Across to Aussie, it's deflected out of bounds with 2.8 seconds. Going back to that, well, they're going to say that was off of Oklahoma State. So we take a look here at Aussie, knocking down the triple and then coming right back on the other end. Blackston, the 5th-year player, the transfer in from the University of Colorado, was able to hit the 3 in response, and that's one thing that's going to be important for West Virginia today, kind of punching back. Can they take a run from Oklahoma State and find a way to fight through that? Yeah,
that's what Mark Kellogg stated to us, that he wants to set the tone, the pace early in this game and make the first punch, and Oklahoma State right now is feeling a little bit of that.
West Virginia leads by 1. The deflection will keep it with the Mountaineers. Wooten, as we mentioned earlier, has entered the game. Heward into the contest as well for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, she's the Energizer Bunny for sure. And Wooten is going to, you know, freshman Gatorade Kansas Player of the Year, shooting 55% from the field. Does an amazing job.
And she stays in front there and forces the travel. And that's one thing that Coach Hoyt talked a lot about early on in the season was the need for the Cowgirls to defend on ball. And you see a really good example from Wooten right there.
Well, compared to last season, Adam, they have the depth to do it. I mean, those players know if they go out and just play all out for 2 to 3 minutes, they're going to have a great teammate coming on the floor to replace them. And so if you don't, Coach Hoyt has told them, well, you can come sit like me. You've got to give the energy.
Last year, you almost can't even say that they didn't have depth because they really had the opposite. As a 10-second violation will give the ball back to West Virginia. I mean, Annegret Aussie had to move over. She usually plays off the ball. She had to play point guard most of last year for Oklahoma State. So not only did they not have depth, they were playing players out of position, really.
And that's what I experienced last season for me. I mean, when you have players that have to play different positions, I mean, that's some growing pains. I don't care what level it is, but they really have paid off of bringing these transfers in this season.
Nice find underneath for West Virginia as the ball is deflected out of bounds in the pressure. It'll stay with Oklahoma State. Watson made that last bucket, and it was Harrison with the assist. West Virginia's moving the ball well on the offensive end.
Yeah, that's what they do. And I mean, when you have dynamic guards like they do, and really their post player is a finesse player. She's versatile. She can knock down the 3, and so it's a tough matchup.
There's one of those steals. Again, 2nd in the country in steals per game. Quinterly finishes after the steal, and West Virginia goes up 5.
She does such a great job of anticipating the pass. One pass away, she gets up and denies the passing lane. Just last season made the defensive all Big 12 team, and just an outstanding player.
Heward missed the open look from the corner. West Virginia already on a 7-0 run. That's deflected out of bounds. And I haven't seen a direction yet. Not sure whose ball it is, but it's a media timeout in one way or the other.
And J.J. Quinterly, one of the best defenders in the Big 12, turning her defense into her offense.
And they're going to need to be tough and stop turning the ball over to kind of get things heading back in the right direction Coach Hoyt would like to see.
Well, I agree. And West Virginia, they're forcing 15-plus turnovers in every game this season to average 25.8 per game, ranks #1 in the Big 12, 3rd nationally. And you've got to make those possessions count if you're going to expect to win against a really good West Virginia team.
The Cowgirls only turn it over about 14 times per game, so you're seeing that West Virginia pressure really affect them early on. Quinterly on the step back, too strong, and Hurd got hit after the rebound, and the ball got popped free, and West Virginia lays it right in.
Well, I didn't see the replay, but I can hear the crowd, so I don't know who to believe right now.
Watson got the bucket. It's a 7-point game. You know, with Oklahoma State turning the ball over the way they have, still only a 3-possession game as we are still have 4 minutes to play here in the first.
Yeah, there's a little miscommunication right now against this matchup zone by West Virginia. They get so spread out that you can go one-on-one on the inside, so they need to look to get Praise the basketball.
See, had to throw up a prayer there as the shot clock expired. Was able to get the rim, but couldn't get it to go. West Virginia up 7 with the basketball here in Stillwater.
And you can see Oklahoma State playing like a sagging man-to-man defense.
And another triple from Blackston, who's already got 2 threes made in this game. She's made 15 on the season to this point, but she's been on fire. And the Cowgirls now find Igaremba wide open in transition on the other end.
Well, that's what both teams talked about. One, that Blackston, if she's open, knock it down. She's not a true post player with her back to the basket. And then Praise, they want their post players from Oklahoma State to rim run and beat the defense down the floor.
Corner 3 off the mark. Hurd rebounds for Oklahoma State. Cowgirls now trying to punch back. We talked about West Virginia needing to do that. The Cowgirls in the same spot here.
Yeah, they have such a great home record under J.C. Hoyt. They're 34-9 in GIA.
Igaremba finishes with the left hand. It sat on the rim for a minute.
Well, that's the difference between Praise and Tenen on the bench right now. They're starting post player. One's more finesse. I'm going to keep mentioning that word, but Praise brings the physicality and just the energy.
Blackston again, and this one is down from the wing. She's got 11 here in the early going to lead West Virginia.
Well, she's shooting 34%, and last game, you know, she scored 10 points, but she'll pick and pop, and a lot of people forget about her around the perimeter because they're so concerned about JJ and Jordan. And so if you have a player like that can step up and knock down big shots, it's going to open up her teammates.
Hurd buries a jumper from the mid-range. Her first points of the game, and we've not seen much scoring from an electric group of Oklahoma State guards to this point.
No, and that's the firing power is these guards for Oklahoma State, and Staley Hurd being one of them.
Cowgirls do not have an answer right now for Kylie Blackston, the Colorado transfer. 13 points here in the first quarter. Igaremba inside is fouled, and she'll go to the line.
Well, as you see here, just the high-low pass and just took her off the bounce. Praise was just a little bit late, and when you see a defender turn her back, you take her to the rim, and that was a really good take and finish.
You mentioned not necessarily a kind of back to the basket big in Blackston, but she is now, we've seen her dribble around a defender and underneath the basket. We've seen her knock down shots from outside. Clearly she's more than capable of scoring the basketball.
Well, with just that defensive possession by Oklahoma State with Praise, I mean, you're right. She took her off the bounce to get to the rim, but once she gets behind the backboard, you've got to keep her there. The worst thing you can do for a player like that with length is let her to come back and gather herself and have a good look at the basket.
In comes Stacey Jones for Oklahoma State, and we'll see if she helps provide a different look, although right now she's not guarding Blackston.
Yeah, last game she had 0 points, which is a little unusual. I mean, but she will bring the energy, and she'll bring the communication that this defense might need right now.
Shaw picks up an offensive foul. The turnover will give it back to Oklahoma State. Both of these teams shooting north of 50% from the field here in this first quarter, but West Virginia forcing the turnovers has made the difference so far.
You can see West Virginia in their matchup zone. And you can see how Staley Hurd made it to the high post, but that's one way to another way to get open. Skip pass to the corner.
Gray knocks down her first shot of the game, and that's got to be a welcome sight for those in orange here in Stillwater today. If she gets going, she can put up numbers in a hurry.
Hey, she's their leading scorer. I mean, she's just an amazing player. She's already shattered the school's single game made 3-point mark with 10 against Chicago State. You don't want to leave that young lady open.
Smith through the baseline out to Aussie for 3. Back to back for the Cowgirls.
Shoot, Adam. And we talked about Anna Gret having not shooting the basketball really well, but there's no place like home right now for Anna Gret.
We mentioned a moment ago the Cowgirls needed to punch back. They're on an 8-0 run over the last minute of play and back within 1. Quinterly across the floor. It's loose. Picked back up by West Virginia, and a foul. And a bit of a scramble for the ball will send Sydney Woodley to the line, the senior that transferred in from Long Beach State.
Yeah, Woodley is a nice player. I mean, she's also shooting 50% from the floor. And in conference, you know, it's a little bit different, averaging 1 point. But her main role on the West Virginia team is to be a defender and get layups off of steals.
Jones will check out. Heward in. Shaw exits the game for West Virginia. First free throw, the friendly roll for the road shooter.
We call those criers. I like to say it because they're just crying that they go in. Please, please, the free throw. Easiest shot in basketball. Nothing changes but the pressure.
That second one, a little more what people are used to seeing from Sydney Woodley, now 9 for 11 on the year. So she doesn't miss many. That first one playing with fire a little bit.
He changed her.
Asi, 11 to shoot before the end of the first quarter. Shot clock is off. 6 to shoot. Inside. Hurd turns the corner. She is fouled with a 1.5 seconds left on the clock.
Well, that's a great adjustment by J.C. Hoyt for the offensive end and putting Staley Hurd, a strong combo guard at the high post position, because they know if they do that, West Virginia is stretched out, making sure they don't defend the three, so you've got to go into your counters, and Staley Hurd did that by getting to the rim and to the free throw line.
Tears Moore, the Oral Roberts transfer, picked up the foul. Another Oklahoma native on this West Virginia roster as Staley Hurd makes the free throw. Hurd got them both. We'll see what West Virginia can do with the 2.5 seconds. Got a shot up, but it wasn't going to count as it was after the buzzer. And after one, the Cowgirls have pulled back within one. It's been a fun three-point shooting game so far.
Well, that's what both teams like to do, especially Oklahoma State. You can't leave them open around the perimeter. They are fantastic. That's what they want to do. It's going to be an amazing second quarter. And they have great flow, and they move the basketball side to side. Oklahoma State's hard to beat. They really are. But they've really got to focus on that rebound. I mean, that's for both teams right now to get those extra possessions on the offensive end. West Virginia is second in offensive rebounds, averaging 14 per game, and Oklahoma State is 6 with 1.2. Could be the difference.
Right now, the team's even with 6 rebounds apiece, so that will be something to keep an eye on as we go throughout this contest. Whoever can gain an advantage there may very well win the ball game. Hurd from the free throw line. Cowgirls lead after trailing by as many as 10.
Staley Hurd, we talked about her in the opening, utility player. You cannot let that young lady get hot because she is hard to stop.
Right now, West Virginia has Blackston with 13. No one else has more than 4. The Cowgirls have had 4 players score 4 or more points as they come up with a steal.
That was a great block by Tenon Magassa, averaging 2 per game, 6 in the Big 12. Great rim protector.
She affects a lot of shots, even if she doesn't get the official block statistics sometimes.
We talked about that, actually.
Yeah. I see. Near side, Cowgirls having to use a lot of shot clock against this West Virginia defense. And an offensive foul against Lexi Smith.
Well, that's one thing that Mark Kellogg instills in his team defensively. That's what they hang their hat on, even though they're leading the Big 12 and nationally in a lot of offensive categories. But that was just a great job. If you can get in front and sacrifice your body for your team, you got to love it.
7 turnovers for the Cowgirls. We're just about a minute into this second quarter here.
Well, they need to be tough with the basketball. They know what West Virginia is going to bring to the defensive end, and you just got to work a little bit harder. And Coach Hoyt has discussed that with her team last several days. Be tough. You're at home.
An air ball from the corner and then a jump ball will give possession to West Virginia. We should mention that while Oklahoma State turned it over a moment ago on the offensive foul, at the first media timeout in the first quarter, West Virginia had 4 steals and had 4 6 turnovers. they've only forced one turnover since, and it was not a steal. So the Cowgirls, after a kind of sluggish start with the basketball, have been better at protecting it over the last 6 or 7 minutes here.
Yeah, well, sometimes you just got to let the adrenaline settle down a little bit, you know, and settle into the game. And I know Coach Hoyt, she talks about that with her team all the time. And so coming out of that timeout, I think she settled them down a little bit more.
We're looking into the officials are looking into the shot clock situation here. As of right now, it's been reset to 29. For that to be the case, though, Oklahoma State would have to have gained solo possession at some point in that exchange, and I'm not sure that was ever the case. It was called a jump ball pretty immediately, and they're going to take a look at it and review it.
Well, I love that. I mean, at least the officials want to get it right and do justice to both teams, so it's important.
Well, we'll put on the Jeopardy music while we take a break here, and we'll let you know. Action, good crowd inside Gallagher Arena today, despite some icy road conditions over the last couple of days. Those winter weather issues that actually caused some travel issues for the NC State wrestling team. As a result, the start time for tomorrow's wrestling match here in Stillwater, which is a top 6 matchup in the country, is likely to be altered. So if you're planning on coming out to the wrestling match here in Gallagher Arena tomorrow, keep an eye on the various OSU social media accounts.
Yeah, the weather has been, you know, West Virginia was stuck after their last game against Texas Tech, and so they haven't been home in a week. And so I'm glad that we haven't had to reschedule this game.
You're not used to having to make that much winter weather travel changes here in Oklahoma, or certainly in Texas, but North Texas, Southeast Oklahoma just got pounded with snow. And Oklahoma snowplows and whatnot, they certainly did their darndest, but they're not quite as at the ready as places like Minnesota and the Dakotas.
Yeah, or Colorado, right? Yeah. I mean, they're so equipped with it. We may be out of school here for a month if we have a little bit of snow or ice, which I think schools were out of here at Oklahoma State.
My kids were out on Friday.
Were they really?
Campus was closed, so it was it was a nice day to play on the snow and have some cocoa and whatnot.
Oh, that's fun.
Cowgirls leading by a point. And with the basketball, and what's been a closely contested game so far, that shot is deflected and taken away by West Virginia.
That's why Oklahoma State needs to do a better job of putting the ball inside in Tenan Magassa's hands and let her go one-on-one.
And there's a travel that turns it right back over to the Cowgirls. Both teams kind of clamping down defensively over the last few minutes. It was, 24-23 at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, they both want to win this game so bad. This is a big game for both teams. For West Virginia, ranked number 17th, wanting to climb the ladder, and Oklahoma State is just trying to knock down the door to get in the top 25. And so this is a game to do that.
Magassa is fouled. Thomas picks it up. And it's on the floor, so the Cowgirls will inbound it. Latricia, Oklahoma State has already played Kansas State, the #1 team in the standings right now. And Baylor, who is currently tied for third with the Cowgirls, and now West Virginia. So that's 3 of the other top 4 teams in the conference already that they've checked off games against.
Big 12 is so tough. Right now in the Big 12 conference, it's one of 2 leagues with 80% of the women's basketball teams in the top 80 of the net, along with the SEC. And so the Big 12 is don't sleep on them. There's some incredible teams, incredible coaches, and players.
Hurd with a one-handed pass over to Gray. Ooh, a little dangerous pass there, but Aussie got it. Now Gray fires a 3 from the wing. It's off the mark. Magassa tracks down the offensive rebound there.
Yeah, great game plan by Mark Kellogg and his staff. They know Oklahoma State wants to shoot the 3, and that ball pressure, I mean, it's at a high level.
Winterly. Harrison Picked up by Smith. And an offensive foul on the screen.
It's a little bit different look right now because now they have West Virginia has a true post player in the game. Well, they're subbing out.
Yeah, she just picked up her second foul.
And so they slowed down just a little bit. They put in a dribble drive offense about 2 weeks ago and establishing her on the inside. And, yeah, the 2 fouls. You don't want to do that this early in the game.
When you see a foul like that, how much does the ball handler share the responsibility for that?
A lot.
Hurd gets knocked down and can't finish, and West Virginia quickly in transition. Igoreva stays in front of Shaw. Igoreva, the taller defender here, but staying in front. Now Shaw pulls up for 3 and hits it.
Wow, nice shot. And, yeah, Praise was trying to get the switch with her teammate, but just you can't flatten out on a 3-point shooter.
A bump on Quinterly in the backcourt. That's just her first foul as we take a look back.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Praise is talking to Staley Hurd to get the switch, to get like bodies, and Shaw just made him pay. They didn't get out and get a hand and contest that 3-point shot.
Shaw has taken and made more threes than anybody on the West Virginia roster, so she's not one that you want to give a lot of space to out there on the perimeter.
Yeah, we don't want her comfortable. Yeah, you're right. 66% of her shots are threes.
A turnover from Wooten, and now West Virginia in transition. Harrison missed the layup, though, and the Cowgirls track down the board.
That's fortunate for Oklahoma State. I mean, because Horston, she's a one-man transition. She can get it and go, and 3 seconds or less, it looks like.
Igoreva had it knocked away, got it back, stripped again, and West Virginia takes it away. Crowd doesn't like it.
J.C. Hoyt doesn't like it. You can see that on the sideline.
And an offensive foul again, this time on Blackston.
And now Mark Kellogg doesn't like it.
No one's happy.
No one's happy in here.
I think that's 4 illegal screens now on West Virginia.
It's a good call. Yeah, Adam, I agree with you.
The Mountaineers have turned it over 7 times, so if that number holds up, that would be more than half of their turnovers on illegal screens. And the good news for West Virginia is it's not a live ball turnover, as Quinterly knocks it free but can't corral it.
Boy, you've got to love the defense by West Virginia. I just love the grit, the extra effort. I mean, that's one thing that Mark Kellogg talked about is he can't believe with all the new players on this team that they have bought in so quickly. They have great offensive weapons, but they love to play defense, and I love that for them.
Is that the hardest thing to convince basketball players to do nowadays, is to lock in together as 5 and play defense? Because there's so much flash in scoring, and what is that become more of a challenge, or do you not think so?
Well, I think both. Depends on the player, right? But it's you've got to treat both of them the same, and you've got to know that and let your players know that defense is just as important as offense, and so you've got to stress that and set the standard.
Gray providing some offense for the Cowgirls, knocking down the 3 to put Oklahoma State back on top, and Igoreva comes up with the steal. Wooten got in the way, but turns it back over, her second one.
Unbelievable. J.J. Quinterly, such a great job of getting back, making that skip pass pay.
She seems to kind of just appear out of nowhere at times.
I know it. She's a baller.
Drive, Harrison, a tough finish from the angle.
Oklahoma kid, 2-level scorer. She'll shoot the 3 or get to the rim like we just saw.
And another turnover from the Cowgirls. That is 5 in the last 6 minutes.
Adam, this is going so quick, I'm about to stretch. I mean, I can't keep up. This is a great basketball game. Both coaches and teams are wanting this victory, and you can see it in the play of the players.
Foul on the floor against Oklahoma State. Called against Jaden Wooten. We mentioned the freshman. She does not have a field goal attempt today. She's turned it over 3 times and assisted on 1. And for the most part, she's been really good protecting the basketball this year. About 2 turnovers per game, but almost a 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio for the true freshman.
Oh, nice inbounds play by West Virginia. And you're right, yeah, Jaden Wooten, I mean, she's really the energizer for Oklahoma State. She has struggled a little bit in the last couple of games, but, you know, she leads this team. And if you have a point guard as a freshman gaining this invaluable experience in the Big 12 play, she's the future of the Cowgirl program.
She missed a few games early coming back from an injury as Gray fires another three. That one's too strong. Smith knocked the rebound free, but West Virginia comes up with it. It's a 3-on-1 break. Bounce to the right. Quinterly finishes and one.
Woo! I mean, what a great job. Defense into West Virginia's offense. But we talked about rebounding, right? How important it is. And if you can crash those offensive boards, I mean, that fell, I think, right in front of Staley Hurd. You've got to go get it. You've got to get the extra effort, because if you don't, it's going to turn into easy baskets on the other end. Give it credit to West Virginia.
Both teams had been kind of struggling from the field in this quarter, but the Mountaineers have now made each of their last 3 field goal attempts, and as such, have built themselves a 6-point lead with a few minutes to play before halftime.
Well, finally, J.J. Quinterly is going to the bench for a little rest, well needed. She averages about 30 minutes per game. But they won't skip a beat. You can see they're still full court pressing. They're trying to get up in the passing lanes. They'll deny the inbounds pass at times, and they're going to go back into this matchup zone.
Smith with a bit of a dangerous pass knocked away by Harrison. Out of bounds off of Harrison, so it'll stay with the Cowgirls. And you can see them, they're really getting out and pressuring the ball. That pass was, what, 40 feet from the basket almost. I always tell people when I was a player, I was so offensive-minded. As a coach, I'm defensive-minded, so I respect that greatly. And you can see it'll cause a lot of havoc, especially with a team that likes to get into flow like the Cowgirls. And now another turnover as Harrison jumped the passing lane, using her body to block off the defender. And a late call.
Uh-oh.
Staley Hurd is really upset. She actually kind of walked herself away from the official.
Did. And good teammate to go grab her and pull her away. And like I said, this is high-stake game. Both teams are wanting to win. Harrison did a great job of denying that pass and getting the steal. And, oh, I don't know, Adam. I know there's different angles. But right now, with Staley Hurd going with that inside hand, I'm probably going to let that one go.
I will say this, regardless of the opinion on the foul, Harrison did a wonderful job of using her body to shield the defender away from the basketball there.
Yeah, I mean, that's at 5'6", knowing that Staley Hurd's running behind her at 5'11", and to make separation on that shot, that's just a high possession for her, elite possession for her.
All of a sudden, an 8-point lead for West Virginia on a 9-0 run over the last 90 seconds. The Cowgirls have turned it over 6 times in the last 7 minutes.
Well, you can see right now with the Cowgirls, they're running that X formation, and in West Virginia, they're anticipating their passes. They're just trimming the edges around the perimeter. They've got to get that basketball inside the paint.
After an offensive rebound, a turnover, flung to the corner. Heward trying to turn the corner, and it's deflected free. West Virginia comes up with another steal.
Yeah, and usually Heward for Oklahoma State does a really good job. She's also an offensive spark off the bench, and she usually catches it and reads the defense really well and attack the top foot of the defender just then.
And another turnover, this time from West Virginia. I don't think that Riviere was expecting to get the basketball back there.
You could see that in her face, and she's walking back right now with a big smile. I think that she definitely was surprised. She's a 4 player and a 5 body, not a 3-point threat, but she moves extremely well inside the paint.
Long pass towards half court. Taken in by Hurd for Oklahoma State. Under 2 minutes before halftime, and the Cowgirls just trying to find a look at the basket here. Too many turnovers recently. Skip pass. Smith is wide open. Off the mark from 3. Good block out that time from Riviere.
Well, Staley Hurd brought 2 defenders at the block to help, and it was a great inside-out pass and a good look from Smith.
Ball knocked free, and a foul called against Quinterly. Wasn't sure which way that was going to go for a moment there. It was kind of a scramble for the ball, and Coach Kellogg was not happy about the call.
Well, that's one thing you'll know, that there's always one coach that's happy and the other one isn't. Very rarely you're going to get them both happy at the same time after a call. But, oh, that's, I think they both were going for the ball. I don't think there was much contact there, but you got to respect the officials and their call.
Smith with it. Heward with a little over a minute before the half.
Well, you can see that the basketball hasn't touched inside. They're just trimming the edges. There's 7 seconds on the shot clock and just a forced shot. So they've got to play inside out.
C missed the step back, and then Heward commits the foul going for the rebound. It's just her first personal. Oklahoma State hasn't scored in nearly 4 minutes as West Virginia will go to the line. Both free throws would make this a 10-point game. That would match West Virginia's largest lead.
And Adam, you've called a lot of these games, and you know that's unusual for Oklahoma State. This is the #1 offense in the Big 12. They put up 84 points per game. And right now, there's a little hesitant, you know, on the offensive end. They're not moving the ball as quick. You've got to give credit to West Virginia. But you've got to almost, since they're, you know, West Virginia's defense is going with cutters because it's a matchup zone, set some ball screens, get the ball moving side to side, look to go inside out, and run a little bit of their motion offense against it. Easier said than done.
Right. The Cowgirls have turned it over 14 times already. That matches their average per game on the season, and that average is top 60 in the country. So perhaps that taking them out of rhythm a little bit, shooting it as well. Smith can't finish in the mid-range. And a travel off the rebound as the West Virginia player went to the deck with it and slid a few feet.
Well, great adjustment by J.C. Hoyt. Right then, that split action at the high post, that's one of their man offenses. And so that was a great look, mid-range shot. Smith usually knocks those down. And so I think if they do that a little bit more, those shots will start falling for them.
Oklahoma State shooting 42% from the field, 33% from three. Not inherently poor numbers, but a little below their average, certainly.
A lot of coaches will take that at this particular time in the season, or any time for that matter.
Trying to go inside to Magassa, and Riviere got a hand in there to commit the foul. And that is at least the 15th foul, so 2 shots coming up here from Magassa. Magassa just a 49% free throw shooter on the year.
Well, if you're going to put one on the line, that's the one that you would want to put there, just because of the 49% free throw percentage. She said, "Be quiet over here."
Right, she didn't look like it on that one. I'm going to
increase that percentage right now.
If you made me guess based on that shot, I'd say she shoots about 90%.
That's exactly right.
Got them both?
Yeah. It's probably, I think she looked over at it. No, gave us the side eye.
It did get quiet in there. These are basketball smart Oklahoma State fans in the building. They know to get quiet when the home team's shooting free throws. It's about a 4-second difference between shot clock and game clock here.
Yeah, and usually Oklahoma State in these situations will go into a 2-3 zone. They like to pack it inside, and that's what they're looking to do right now, but you got to rebound out of it.
Riviere has her shot blocked, knocked out to her. 5 seconds left in the half, ahead to Wasi. 3 to shoot, she flings one up from half.
Look at this crowd. Way to wake up some people in here. Incredible half-court shot, but by Anna Greta-Ossi.
You know,
Today, West Virginia at number 17, and then Utah sneaking in at number 22.
Kellogg, Coach Hoyt with some final instructions for their squads before sending them back out to start the second half. Looks like the starting 5 back on the floor for both teams as we get back to action here in Stillwater in a 5-point game. Smith starts with it for the Cowgirls.
Adam, I think J.J. Quinterly will probably get a little bit more involved in the offense.
Staley Hurd usually involved for the Cowgirls, and she's got an early bucket here in the second half.
Speaking of getting more involved in the offense, Staley Hurd, I mean, she meant that. Great attack to the rim.
Dribble past a defender. Is that one way that you can start to attack this matchup zone we've seen from West Virginia?
Yeah, that backside. I mean, that's where the weakness is, the high post, going one-on-one from the elbows. We call it the nail. And so getting into that dunker spot is going to be extremely important for Oklahoma State.
Jumper left short. Cowgirls get the rebound. A one-possession game. Hurd able to track down. I wouldn't even call it a loose ball, but nobody really had it at the time.
Yeah, I agree.
It's more like threatening to be loose. Three-pointer for the tie is short from Gray. Rebounded by Quinterly, and she wants to run.
Yeah, it's a good look. I mean, but she needs to follow her shot so that way they don't start their transition.
Foul on Anna Greta-C. Again, to the chagrin of the fans here in orange and black.
Don't mess with her. She made the half-court shot with this crowd. They're going to protect her right now.
Officially a fan favorite, which she already has been. What she was able to do last year, what she wasn't set.
She'll raise her hand. She knows it.
What she was able to do last year is one of those things that endears you to fans real quick, where you're filling in for other injuries and putting so much effort into the game.
Made her better. I mean, she enhanced her skill set, and we can see the benefits of that this season.
A dribble drive, a spin. That shot's blocked by Smith.
Great block by Smith to lead the transition, but you can see West Virginia is matched up quickly.
Really nice job for defending 5 there of creating not a mismatch, but avoiding that. I see a nice patient shot to draw the foul. She'll go to the line. We'll look back at the defense from Oklahoma State.
Well, like I said, one thing you need to do against a dribble drive offense is contain the dribble. And Smith did an excellent job doing that and getting a nice block. But Anna Greta-C right there in that possession. Smart. Defense was there, but how to lean in without being called for the offensive foul. Smart basketball IQ.
And there's a difference, isn't there, between creating contact and forcing the contact?
Yeah, a little football play compared to a basketball play.
Made one, missed one for Aussie. It was Shaw that committed the foul, by the way.
I think I jinxed her. And I don't tell her that, because I think I mentioned earlier that she has 18 consecutive free throws. Okay.
I've always said that if we had that kind of effect on the game, we'd make a lot more money doing this job.
Adam, I knew I liked you. Yeah. Okay, I feel much better now.
That goes out of bounds untouched. It'll be Oklahoma State basketball. I've done a lot of baseball, and I've gotten complaints about, you can't talk about a no-hitter. I was like, I promise you, if I could affect that, I would be in a different role.
We'd be at the beach with our feet up.
See on the near wing. West Virginia still in that matchup zone. It's given Oklahoma State some issues. There's another deflection. That was more of a miscommunication as Aussie was starting to cut.
Yeah, and that's one of the things to break that 2-3 zone, and is to have, cutters, even though that defender is going to go with the cutter, but it's going to create an opportunity for another kick out for the 3.
Mid-range jumper knocked down, and we've got a new ball game in Stillwater with 7:45 to play in the 3rd.
Half-court shot, momentum changer. Oklahoma State came out of the locker room wanting to defend their home court.
And another stop. That was Alexia Smith's first bucket, by the way. Oklahoma State can reclaim a lead. They've trailed by 10 multiple times in this game. Aussie from the elbow. No. Magassa offensive rebound. No put back. And it's pulled in eventually off the bounce by Blackston.
Sometimes post players will go up with so much momentum because they're expecting to get fouled. You've got to shoot to score, not to draw the foul.
Basically forced a overshot. Too strong of a shot there. Harrison around the screen. Underneath, but a travel first. The Cowgirls are on an 8-0 run going back to about the half-second mark before the break.
Give credit to the defenses for both teams, though. Only 38 points for both teams at this time. I mean, it's a great defensive game.
Oklahoma State proved at Cincinnati in the midweek that they can win games by defending. Might have to do that again here today. Inside Magassa. Plenty of time to shoot. Oh, a little juke. We've got
shake and bake, right? The one thing that Tenen did extremely well is the defense let her go back to the middle for that little over the left shoulder hook shot. Crowd
coming alive in Stillwater as Coach Kellogg takes a timeout. Oklahoma State has come back from down 10 again to take a 2-point lead with 6.5 minutes to play here on this early in the game, Latricia. The rebounding battle was going to be key. West Virginia is about +7 per game. That's a top 50 margin in the country. The Cowgirls are top 10 at +12. That was something that's been a strength for both teams. Whoever wins that battle is going to give themselves an advantage. And Oklahoma State had been trailing for a while. They're now back even as they've climbed back into the lead.
Yeah, you talked about rebounding, but the second chance points off those rebounds, especially offensively. West Virginia only 2 points, Oklahoma State only 3. They've got to turn those rebounds into points on the scoreboard. If not, it could be a really close game all the way through to the end.
Offensive foul on Alexia Smith. The official saying it was a handoff screen. J.C. Hoyt says it was not a handoff. And I was looking down at my stat sheet, so I can't really back either of them up in that case. But it is a turnover, gives it back to West Virginia with Oklahoma State leading by 2. This has been a pretty physical basketball game.
Well, it talks about the key of the game for Oklahoma State is toughness, because they knew that West Virginia was going to bring it because they like to make the first punch. They're going to be really aggressive on defense, and Oklahoma State knew they had to do the extra.
Stacey Jones forced a Jordan Thomas miss, the freshman out of Carrollton, Texas. She got her own miss and then drew the foul.
You know, I think at times, and I've said this before, but a lot of times when you look at officials, they played basketball, most of them, right? But they played the guard position. Very rarely do you see an official that played at the post. So sometimes it's a little bit difficult to call. And Stacey Jones, don't sleep on her. She may look small on the court, but she can elevate. And I think that was a good defensive possession.
Looked like she might have deflected that first shot attempt. Cowgirls having a tough time getting the ball across half court. Smith with 3 seconds stopped for momentum, but was able to get it ahead to Aussie. Weaving through traffic, the runner falls for Aussie.
Aussie's awake. I mean, was lacking in confidence and scoring. And as I mentioned earlier, there's no place like home. She's playing a fantastic game on the offensive end.
Cowgirls outscoring West Virginia 9-2 so far here in this third quarter. The Mountaineers are 0 for 7 from the field. Quinterly trying to change that, left it short. Rebound tracked down by Jones for the Cowgirls.
Well, one thing that J.C. Hoyt mentioned to me that she wants in the second half to extend possessions. She wants to make West Virginia take shots under 8 seconds. And when they do this, their shot selection is poor. And so that was a contested, tough shot for J.J. Quinterly.
Right by the defender. We talked about this earlier. If you can get into the high post against that matchup zone, it helps.
That's a con of against a zone. If you can have that high post action, and a lot of times you'll get defenders to either collapse or stay out on the shooters. And it's just a great teamwork, because either the high post can go one-on-one, or if they collapse, shooters for Oklahoma State.
Jordan Thomas with the first field goal of the second half for West Virginia. Now she comes up with a steal. The true freshman getting it done for the Mountaineers right now. Oklahoma State leads by 2.
Adam, the worst place you can take the basketball when you're getting trapped is to the sideline. And Anna Gret did that.
Now a turnover from Harrison for West Virginia, as we'll get to the under 5 media timeout in what has been a bit of a whirlwind third quarter here.
Like I said earlier, we should have stretched at halftime. We knew this was going to be the same intensity and tempo in this third quarter, but just a lot of turnovers, a lot of adrenaline. Both teams are fighting for this victory, and it's an exciting game.
4.5 to play. We'll take immediate timeout here in the third quarter. Cowgirl basketball.
Coach Hoyt mentioned is stopping the ball as early as possible to create a speed bump so that their teammates can match up a little bit quicker. And Mark Kellogg has done an amazing job at West Virginia, actually every stop. And he talked about just the buy-in from this team on the defensive end. And when you look at those incredible stats, you can see they definitely have.
Here's an opportunity for Oklahoma State. Jaden Wooten has checked back in, and Wooten and Heward, both off the bench for Oklahoma State, are generally spark plugs, but they both struggled a little bit in that first half. They're going to have a chance to impact the second half, and already with an assist that time to Gray.
Well, against Cincinnati in the last outing for the Cowgirls, it was Jaden Wooten, Macy Heward that came in, and that really sparked them to go on a run to get that victory.
Winterly called for the travel. Magassa was there to help affect the shot as well. The Cowgirls, we talked about West Virginia's defense. Oklahoma State has forced 14 turnovers. They're only -2 in the turnover category. That may be about to change. It is. A travel called against Aussie. It'll go right back to West Virginia.
That's the turnovers. I mean, it seems like when you mention fast break points, it's like you can't get into rhythm or flow just because, one, the press, but two, just turning the basketball over so much.
We talked about that some off the air in the break. It feels like there's not been a whole lot of flow to this basketball game. It's been very well contested, very physical game, but it doesn't seem like either team's really gotten much of a rhythm.
You bet. And you can see Oklahoma State packing it in.
Kick to the corner. Now back out to Quinterly. Well contested on the pull-up. It's short. Rebound tip free. Taken in by West Virginia.
So that's what's going to be the determining. Oh, wow.
Wooten takes it away on the long pass. The freshman attacks. Right-hand layup.
And the crowd goes wild. You got to love those momentum plays. They're just fun basketball, and it just ignites what Oklahoma State wants to do. Make West Virginia turn the basketball over and go score easy layups.
And what have we heard all year from this Oklahoma State staff about Jaden Wooten? That she's fearless. She had 1 assist, 3 turnovers in the first half. Here in the second half, already an assist and a run-through steal in a bucket. And now after the miss, the Cowgirls gather the rebound, leading by 6 and a chance to push it to 3 possessions.
If Jaden Wooten is...
There's an offensive foul. Magassa clearing space on, I don't even know if you want to call it moving screen, but she basically moved her out of the way. It was more like a block, like in football.
It was. We talked about that earlier, but how about Jaden Wooten at 5'6"? She's a freshman. I was going to say this a while ago. If I'm going into a dark alley, I'm taking this young lady with me. She is just a dog in the fight. Got to love that energy that young lady brings to the court.
This 6-point lead matches the largest of the, rather is the largest of the game for Oklahoma State. Magassa comes flying across the lane to block that out of bounds.
But what great timing on that block, and that's what she brings to this team. Uses her length. She's a true rim protector, but just that rim protection, great block. It allows her guard to get up and really pressure the basketball.
Shaw, very capable three-point shooter, tried to drive it out to a different three-point shooter in Blackston. Didn't fire it that time. 5 to shoot for West Virginia, and it's kicked out of bounds.
Great defense. Great defense from Oklahoma State, containing the dribble, getting them deep into the shot clock, as they mentioned, as an adjustment at halftime, making West Virginia shoot the basketball under 8 seconds.
Cowgirls with a chance to expand on their largest lead of the ball game. Looking for a victory that would put them no worse than tied for 3rd in the league standings after a few weeks of play. Near corner. Smith. Oh, got hammered. She'll go to the line. Well, he said it's been a physical game so far.
It has. It really has. That was a good offensive possession from Oklahoma State. What I liked about it is they moved the basketball. We always say sharing is caring, right? Give up a good shot for a great one, and the great one was just the take from the baseline corner.
Does it appears to me, but you're the basketball coach, so I'll ask you, it seems like we're seeing more passes with more purpose in the second half of Oklahoma State. We saw a lot kind of parallel to the free throw line in that first half, and it caused a lot of steals. It seems like they're moving the ball more intentionally.
But listen, Adam, if you move the basketball side to side, the defense usually will always make a mistake. You can expose a weaker defender if you do that, and Oklahoma State has done that, as you mentioned, coming out in this third quarter.
The Cowgirls were down 10 with just a few minutes to play before, just a minute to play before halftime. They now find themselves up 8 as we approach a minute to go in the third quarter.
Well, it started with Staley Hurd in that first possession out of the locker room, attacking and scoring at the rim, and that just ignited this Oklahoma State offense.
Cowgirls pushing the pace after the rebound. Hurd attacks. Oh, an offensive foul.
Well,
this one actually Coach Wood seems to agree with. So we seem to all be on the same page of this one. She was immediately nodding her head yes. Okay. The crowd didn't like it, but where we've had some disagreement between coaches and officials today, I think everybody was mostly on the same page with that.
Well, let's look. Staley, oh yeah, she just extended that left arm. You've got to give credit to Jordan Harrison. taking that charge again. That's her second charge of the afternoon.
It is not easy to stay in front of Staley Hurd.
No.
She's very athletic. She's quick with the basketball. So to move your feet and be in the right position is
I may
tough.
have to trip her rather than taking that charge.
Three-pointer knocked down from Blackston, who's up to 16 points. That's her first bucket of the second half, but she's made a living outside the arc today.
She has, and like I said, a finesse post player, but coming into this game, 15 for 44 from the three.
High post. Hurd moves it.
There's that ball moving, Adam.
Hurd inside. Can't finish, but she's fouled.
I think that was a great take from Staley Hurd because she can muscle her way in. She likes that physicality of the game. And so to draw that foul and get to the free throw line, really good possession, but next time it may not be. Oh, that jump stop. That was beautiful, but she drew that second defender, and Jaden Wooten is also wide open at that baseline corner. So that's maybe an option if they run that play again.
That play kind of started with Hurd finding Wooten. She drove into the paint, found Wooten, and then it came all the way back around the world to another Hurd drive.
I like to always say, not good things happen in the paint when you're on defense. Keep it out of there. Have that no paint mentality.
Oklahoma State 9 for 12 at the line today. West Virginia 9 for 9. Both teams have shot it well at the stripe. Shot clock is off for the Mountaineers here in a 5-point ball game.
And you can see Oklahoma State going back into their zone like they like to do at the end of quarters.
Three-pointer from the corner is short. Magassa rebound and a tie ball. Possession error will keep it with West Virginia with 3 seconds before the end of the quarter.
Yeah, I think Tenen just, we always tell post players to keep the ball high. She's at 6'6". She lowered it to below her chin. And if you do that, you're just as tall as the guard in front of you. So you've got to keep the basketball high and keep those elbows out.
What does West Virginia have off the baseline OB here?
Little screen-to-screener action.
Wooten deflects it. It's loose and taken away by the Cowgirls, and they prevent the shot. They didn't get a look at the basket, but they prevented the shot from West Virginia.
Yeah, they had open looks there actually on that inbounds play on the offside of the ball in that screen-the-screener action, but you've got to give Jaden Wooten credit for elevating and getting a hand on that basketball.
At the end of the third quarter, Oklahoma State was plus 10 in the quarter. They've got a 5-point lead. Quarter 4 coming up in Stillwater when we come back. In this game to have 3 wins already over the top half of the league, and you give yourself an advantage with a potential tiebreaker later as well, because there's a return trip to West Virginia in about 3 weeks.
About 3 weeks, right? You want to leave an everlasting impression on them, or they don't want to see you again. But you're right. I mean, this would be a huge win, a quad 1 win, actually, which how the NCAA evaluates their net. And so this would be a huge win for Oklahoma State because they're wanting to get into that top 25.
Cowgirls are plus 13 since just before that shot left Asi's hand to hit the half-court buzzer beater. Three-pointer straight away, in and out.
Well, that's what Oklahoma State does best. Number 1 offense in the Big 12. They want to shoot threes. They want the defense to collapse. Perfect example of that with the knockdown 3 by Micah Gray.
9.5 threes per game as a team is top 10 in the country. A tough runner in the lane there for Harrison goes as a response.
I mean, she is a water bug, is she not? I mean, she's a quick first step and to elevate over some length defensively. Great shot by Harrison.
That's stark contrast to me, who is not a water bug. I just immediately sink anytime I step into that.
You would think I have cement blocks around my ankles. I'm with you.
Hurd with the finish. Had that arm dangerously wrapped around the defender, but able to get by and get the bucket.
Well, that's one thing that J.C. Hoyt told me is that she challenged Staley Hurd this season to do something more, and that is leadership. And she is showing that leadership by example here today.
Ball knocked free, still corralled by West Virginia. Smith with a nice one-on-one defense to get her to the corner. Blackston for 3, too strong. Long rebound snagged by Gray for Oklahoma State. This game is kind of teetering on the precipice here if the home team can get another bucket. Asi behind the back, off the mark from 3. And out of bounds, it'll go back to West Virginia. So
But
the
it's
flip
a
side of that,
3-point shootout now.
for West Virginia, you got to find a way. We talked about this in the first half. You got to find a way to punch back before this game starts to get away.
Yeah, and they do, and they've got to rely on the defensive end. But with Staley Hurd right there, that we talked about that high post catch and going one-on-one to get to the rim. She is. They'll put Micah Gray there too at the high post because she's such a strong, big-bodied guard, and so that's a great adjustment coming out of half.
Shaw couldn't turn the corner and then pegs a defender on the dome. It's out of bounds off West Virginia. Sorry, a teammate of Watson wore that one in the head.
Well, right then, I would, if I'm West Virginia, I would think a little bit more about getting the ball to Blackston. She's knocked down some quality threes. Tenan Magassa is sagging off of her on the catch. I would find her spotting up around that three-point line and try to get back into this game.
Hurd squares up underneath. Taken away by Blackston. Another steal. West Virginia hasn't converted these into points at a very high rate today, though.
Well, look, that's 3 players back on 4 in Oklahoma State's defensive transition. Did a really good job. They may be giving up that offensive board just to get back to stop the ball early.
Harrison, a beautiful move to create space, but didn't get the bucket. Cowgirls with a chance again to extend what's currently an 8-point lead. Largest lead of the game for the Cowgirls. Hurd to the rim. Finish and one.
Adam, if you want to change the momentum and get the home crowd to their feet, give the ball to Staley Hurd. One-on-one, she's exposing that left elbow, getting to the rim, drawing the foul, doing what she does best, taking this team on her back and trying to point to this victory. I mean, she's an incredible player.
West Virginia on a more than 2-minute scoring drought as the Cowgirls have kind of imposed their will. Hurd up to 16 points. Double digits now in the second half for the all Big 12 player a year ago.
Well, now West Virginia's going into some of their set plays, going off of that double stagger away from the ball, trying to isolate their post player.
Ball was tied up. It'll stay with West Virginia, but it seems like we're seeing Oklahoma State turn up the pressure on the defensive end right now as well.
Yeah, I mean, they feed off their offense, and they've had some big and one moments, and so that makes any offensive-minded teams play a little bit harder on the defensive end.
Crowd's getting behind them as well. There's a mid-range bucket that time for Quinterly. Those are her first points of the second half. She's only got 7 today.
I was about to ask you, Adam, if that was her first shot, because she's been a little quiet. She is the the leading scorer on this team, and so I expect her to go to work.
Hurd couldn't get the mid-range jumper on the other end. Shaw on the right wing. Quinterly has taken 10 shots today, but only 3 have gone in. Shaw driving. Now Watson. A turnaround. Too strong. And a foul on the rebound. Igareva had possession for Oklahoma State through the half.
I like the dribble drive offense that Mark Kellogg and his staff put in a couple of weeks ago. It just... one of the things it does, it adds to the spacing, allows players to be creative on the offensive end and be able to use their athletic ability.
Not everybody on the same page there. Gray, too strong. The whole crowd is helping Igareva find that basketball a moment ago.
Do they get the assist for that?
They should. Quinterly flings up a shot, got bumped. Foul called against Gray as J.C. Hoyt, I think, not happy with the defense on that last play.
She may go, I mean, don't mess with J.C. Hoyt. She just had a baby. She's, you have 5 children, lack of sleep, right? I wouldn't aggravate her right now.
She might have wanted a 3-second call, as she was saying something with 3 up there to the official.
Her mom has the little one on court side under their basket. Just a great moment for the Hoyt family.
Ran into Harlow upstairs, actually, before the game.
You did?
Not too long before we started. Quinterly missed the first, got the second, and that's a sign that she may be a little bit off today. 81.5% free throw shooter. She doesn't miss many.
No, she doesn't.
Head to Aussie. 10-point Cowgirl lead. Sorry, 8-point Cowgirl lead, and there's a foul.
What a physical game this is here in GIA.
And honestly, Latricia, that was kind of one of the questions for this Cowgirl team after the non-conference. They just straight up dominated several teams in that non-conference, and they hadn't had a lot of real physical play, and they've lived up to that challenge so far in league play.
Adam, that you're spot on about that. I mean, I kind of was concerned coming in on how Oklahoma State would handle West Virginia's pressure, because I know that they're an incredible defensive team, and I think they've done extremely well. Obviously, up by 8 with 5:30 to go in this game.
They've turned it over 21 times, but have forced 18. There's an offensive rebound, but it's blocked by Magassa. Now a turnover going the other direction. Perhaps too aggressive for the Cowgirls there. Quinterly pitches it back. To Quinterly again. Back to the corner, a little two-man game. Three-pointer.
Talk about an unselfish play there by J.J. Quinterly. Looking for her, giving up an opportunity to score the three, and gave it up to the higher percentage shooter.
Watson, the South Dakota transfer, one of the teams that's been near the top of the Summit League for many years here recently. She's played plenty of winning basketball. Under 5 to play. It's just a 5-point game. That seems like an eternity at this point. Off the leg of Hurd and out of bounds. It's turnover number 23 for Oklahoma State, as West Virginia is on a 6-0 run and a timeout on the floor.
Well, it's just an amazing game. It's fun to call, but just to give up that pass to the corner of that open three, that's what you want to see from West Virginia. In the second half, to only 21% shooting, and that's unusual for them. As you can see, the field goal percentage Big 12 leaders, they're usually shooting 47%, and if Oklahoma State can keep up the 62% shooting, they're going to win this game.
I think Coach Hoyt may be more concerned about keeping up the 21% defensive field goal percentage, because if they can defend like that down the stretch, they're going to be in good shape. Three-pointer off the mark, and a big-time rebound from Smith. That's the other thing we talked about, the rebounding margin. The Cowgirls are now actually still -2 in that category after that last rebound. It's been close throughout.
Yeah, and that's been fun to watch, as these young guards, you know, there's a lot of rebounding guards on both teams, and to see that and not just have the 5-player do all the rebounding is great.
Offensive rebound. Smith can't finish with the left hand. Hurd comes to get it. She's too strong. Rebound tapped
Good
out.
hustle.
Taken in by Oklahoma State. Quinterly had reached out to it but couldn't bring it in.
Yeah, what a great, I mean, this is such a fun game. Both teams are playing so hard. Both coaches do an incredible job. This is just great women's basketball.
Smith off the mark. And a foul on Magassa going over the back on that last play. A long possession there for Oklahoma State, but no points.
Well, I can't wait to see what both coaches pull out of their toolbox here in the last 3:35 to pull this victory off. I mean, Mark Kellogg has won at every stop. He's doing it now. Incredible coach. J.C. Hoyt, same thing. Incredible coach. 34-9 here at home. Where's the I can't wait for the adjustments here in the last 3 minutes.
Shaw on the drive, kicks out. Offensive rebound a moment ago for West Virginia. Kept the possession alive, and there's a foul on Alexia Smith. Just her first personal by my count. It's a 6-0 run for the Mountaineers over the last 3.5 minutes, as the Cowgirls haven't scored for nearly 4, but maintain a 5-point advantage.
You know, in Smith, she's 1 for 6 from the field, 0 for 1 from the 3, 1 for 2 from the free throw line, but 9 rebounds. She's doing so much more to impact this game in a positive way.
Looking for the wing 3. Too strong. And then a foul against Oklahoma State.
I was wondering, I saw that contact, and I was wondering which way the official was going to call.
And that is not only the 4th team foul, but that's the 4th personal on Micah Gray. She's going to have to be very careful as Jaden Wooten checks in. Gray will come to the bench. Big minutes upcoming for the true freshman here.
Yeah, you've got to, end of the game, you've got to stay locked. You got to stay disciplined in your defensive approach. Don't take chances. Stay solid. You're ahead.
Around Wooten and finishes. Tough look. Cowgirls, 5 seconds to get it across the timeline. Dumped ahead to Smith. Rev in the game right now for Oklahoma State as well. We've not seen Macy Heward much in the second half for the Cowgirls.
No, you haven't.
Hurd driving, kicks. Wooten open from the corner. Off the mark, short. The rebound slapped out of bounds. It'll stay with Oklahoma State. But, Coach, you called that earlier. You said, hey, on that Hurd drive, Wooten is open in the corner, and they found her there, just didn't hit the shot.
Yeah, and they're leaving her open. I mean, she shoots 43% from the three. I know in this afternoon's game, I believe she is 0 for 1, right? That's a first shot, three-pointer that she took, but she can knock it down. So I'm anxious to see if they continue to leave her open.
Magassa has checked into the game for Oklahoma State. They immediately go into her on the block. Double team, kick out. Smith from the mid-range.
Well, Miss Smith heard me over here saying that she was 1 for 6 from the field, and what a great, confident shot, mid-range shot from that young lady.
Cowgirls needed a bucket. They had missed 7 in a row, and that breaks an 8-0 run for West Virginia. 2 minutes to go. Quinterly just kind of dancing her way in there.
Yeah, great hezzy move, reading the defense. Great shot. She is an elite mid-range shooter, and right now West Virginia's got to turn up the offense. They've got to get some turnovers and go down and score the basketball.
Quinterly hasn't scored it how she normally does, but make no mistake, she is going to be a focal point for West Virginia offensively. Asi gives it away. Three-pointer, in and out. Offensive rebound, put back, good for her.
Staley Hurd, past 2 games, double-double. She's their leading rebounder for Oklahoma State. She is a fantastic player for Oklahoma State.
The shot is blocked by Magassa. 1:07 to play.
Mark Kellogg is telling his team he must get a stop.
And there's a foul on Watson. Kellogg is not happy with the call.
Yeah. I'm anxious to watch the replay on this foul.
That's 4 team fouls now on West Virginia, so both teams are in the bonus moving forward. Let's take a look back.
Yes, Staley Hurd giving the ball up. Well, yeah, I mean, that's, well, like we said earlier, one coach is going to be happy and the other is not.
We got a timeout on the floor. It's a 30-second timeout from Oklahoma State. Staley Hurd, double digits in the second half, up to 17 on the game, but time and time again when they need to play, Staley Hurd has come through.
That's the utility player for Oklahoma State. She has said, whatever my team needs, points, rebounds, assists, steals, I'm the one to go to, and she's proven that this afternoon.
Hurd is a +4. She's played 38 of the 39 possible minutes that she could be on the floor.
And I love what J.C. Hoyt said about Staley Hurd. She was an elite 800-meter runner, and she said she's just built different. She has a toughness about her, and she's a true competitor.
Oklahoma State leading by 5 with the ball. A foul will send the Cowgirls to the line. This doesn't feel like a foul situation yet for West Virginia, though.
No, it's not. I mean, there's some time, and especially with West Virginia's defense. I know Mark Kellogg has a great game plan, and Ozzie right there, as you can see with the ball, she doesn't like pressure as much. You can see that they're really aggravating her with the ball.
Mid-range jumper, too strong. Slapped out of bounds. It'll go to West Virginia.
Yeah.
Magassa was fighting for it, couldn't bring it in.
That goes back to the foul, right? I mean, that's a great defensive possession, and depends on what your coaching philosophy is.
The officials are going to review that last play to see if it should be West Virginia ball or not.
Ooh.
And I'll say this, Latricia, regardless of
Call
how
the floor is West Virginia ball. That play is under review.
regardless of how this review turns out, for Oklahoma State, obviously you want to make baskets. You can kind of deal with missing a shot. What you cannot have right now is live ball turnovers. So as long as you're getting a shot up at the end of a possession right now, you're feeling okay about it.
I agree. I mean, you're ahead. You don't want to force anything, but I also know the philosophy of Oklahoma State that all guards have the green light. And if you're open, knock it down. So I know J.C. Hoyt is comfortable with that, but West Virginia, see how they handled this adversity, only having, I believe, one loss coming into this game.
After review, call the floor is confirmed. West Virginia
Two
ball.
losses in this game, excuse me.
Call is confirmed. It'll be West Virginia basketball, and a reminder of what's at stake here. There's a lot of basketball left to be played this season, but the winner will end the week no worse than tied for third in the Big 12 standings, and it's still kind of packed at really throughout, as we have just played a few games here in the Big 12 schedule. But perhaps more importantly, the winner of this game secures at least a split in the season series. You got 16 teams in the league now. You're going to get into some tiebreaker scenarios for seeding for the Big 12 tournament. So if you can pick up the first victory of the leg here before you go back to Morgantown in a few weeks, that would go a long way for Oklahoma State, or subsequently for West Virginia. If you can get the win here, then you have a chance to solidify that at home in a few weeks.
This is going to be, if Oklahoma State can pull this off, it's going to be a huge win. But can you imagine that game?
Oh.
I don't know. Should we buy our plane tickets
Right.
now to go watch this? Because this is such a great matchup between these two teams.
Any Mountaineer fans watching, you might as well mark that day on your calendar.
Yeah,
It's
mark
February
it.
1st, because it's going to be a fun one out at Morgantown. 35 seconds to go in a 5-point game. Quinterly, the sidestep. Too strong, rebounded by Smith.
Love the switch there by putting 6'6", Tenon Magasa to contest the shot on J.J. Quinterly.
Cowgirls got sped up. Pass too high. The turnover gives it back to West Virginia. Mountaineers really needed that turnover there.
They needed it bad, but more importantly, they need to score right here. You know, Coach Hoyt is telling them just to calm down. She's encouraging them, but big possession offensively for West Virginia.
Kick out. Quinterly tries again. Too strong again. Smith gets the rebound again, and she's fouled. Almost a carbon copy of the last time down the floor.
Well, I don't blame Mark Kellogg in putting the basketball in J.J. Quinterly's hands. I mean, she is their go-to player and an incredible player. And so she's the team's leading scorer, and 9 times out of 10, she's going to knock that shot down.
Smith with a chance to go to the line. All 5 of her points have come here in the second half. And this is big, because if she can make both, it's a 3-possession game.
Yeah, that's a little tougher there. I just like players that can get to the free throw line in these situations and knock them down under pressure. I think that's a beautiful part of the game of basketball.
Smith is only a 61% foul shooter on the year, but they needed 2 from her there, and she got both of them. It's a 7-point game with just over a dozen seconds to go in Stillwater.
Well, both teams have been fighting. This has been an unbelievable basketball game. 12.6 seconds. If I'm West Virginia, you've got to extend this game as long as you possibly can. You've got to get to the rim. I'm taking any shot possible right now. If you can get the clock stopped, even better, but they've got to put points on the board.
Oklahoma State has found a way to overcome a turnover deficit. As we get a look at West Virginia's upcoming schedule, it does get a lot easier with Iowa State coming up, the trip to Arizona for a couple games as well. The Cowgirls are -6 in the turnover category, but they're only -2 in points off of turnovers. And so while they've turned it over more, they've fought hard in that battle, and they've kept it as part of the reason they're in the lead. 10 seconds to go. Harrison.
Got to score.
Quinterly launches off the mark right. Smith gets her 3rd consecutive rebound, and that will seal it for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, you can see J.C. Hoyt shaking Mark Kellogg's hand with tears in her eyes. She knows how big this win was for Oklahoma State.
And what did we say, Latricia? The Cowgirls proved earlier in the week that they can win a game with defense. They have averaged, remember, they were a top 10 scoring team in the country coming into the week, averaging 85 points a game. They won 2 games this week, scoring 64 points. You're finding different ways to win basketball.
That's deadly. I mean, for March, I mean, I'm a coach. I'm, just same thing as J.C. Hoyt, Mark Kellogg. They're thinking about the bigger picture, that defense will always travel, and so that if they're picking it up on the defensive end, this team is going to go deep into this Big 12 conference, and hey, don't sell them out of that NCAA tournament as well.
A couple of things we were looking at: the rebound battle, the